Hello, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the CEO Sports Show for February 9th, 2026. My name is Kris Kretschman. I am your host. And I know it's been a little bit since I've gone live. I have been really busy. I was in Mobile for the Senior Bowl last week, and this past week I was in San Francisco. If you guys don't know, if you just follow me from the CEO Sports Show, I have a page on TikTok. It's called Cowboys Beat. It's my name, Kris Kretschman. I have a much bigger following there. So, I was able to get credentialed to go to certain media events. And, I was at a TikTok event out there, met Jameis Winston, Ndamukong Suh, Jonathan Hankins from the Seahawks. And also, I ran into A.J. Brown at the airport. So, well, maybe we talk about that. Maybe we don't. We probably don't talk about that. But what I will say is, it was funny. I ran into AJ Brown at the airport, and I went up to him, and I was just like, "Hey, going back to Philly?" And I think he misunderstood my question because I meant it in like a conversation filler type of way, not in like a predatory type of way where it's like, "Oh, you going back to Philly? Like, yo, you want to get traded? You want to get traded?" I didn't mean it like that. It's, "Hey, man, going back to Philly?" I can tell you this. He did not look happy when I asked that question. Maybe I just should have been like, "Hey, look, AJ Brown." But I was like, "Hey, man, look, he's there. See him. Hey, man, big fan of your game." But that's besides the point. So let's get into the Super Bowl, because I'm going to be honest with you guys, kind of annoyed at how we talked about this game. Going into this week, I feel like we talked about things other than the actual game that's being played. We talked about narratives when it came to, do these two teams deserve to be in the Super Bowl? Or this is one of the worst Super Bowls that we've seen. Instead of like actually giving appreciation to two teams that made it through the playoffs. And like, look, it's not like the Seahawks had an easy run to get to the Super Bowl. Like, yeah, they beat a 49ers team that was really banged up, but they played a Los Angeles Rams team that was really damn good. And then they played the Patriots, and they did what they were supposed to do. Like, the Seahawks are worthy Super Bowl champions. They dominated the 49ers. They dominated the Patriots, two teams that they were clearly better than. And the team that matched them in talent, they were able to get a good win over that team. So to me, they're worthy Super Bowl champions. They were 14-3 on the year. This is one of the most well-built rosters that we've seen over the past couple years on both offense and defense. They're one of the most well-coached teams in the NFL, if not the most well-coached team in the NFL. There is a reason why this team won a Super Bowl, and they are deserving champions. And they are champions that you could pick teams from separate years. And I would say, like, if you were to rank this team over the last 10 years when it comes to Super Bowl champions, they would be in the top 6 easy. So this is not a team that just won because it was a down year in the NFL. This is a team that won because they were just a really damn good football team. And they won a really difficult division. They play in a division where there are some teams in that division. Obviously, you have the LA Rams, who, by the way, they beat 2 times in a row going down the stretch. They won that game in Seattle, the overtime game. That was fantastic. And then they won the game yesterday. Or I'm sorry, 2 weeks ago. Right? So the Rams were a really good team. They beat them twice. Seahawks are worthy Super Bowl champions. And to get into this game, like, let's just be honest here. The reason why they won this game is because their defense was outstanding. They were suffocating. They were getting to Drake May all night, and they ran the ball effectively. Kenneth Walker was fantastic in this game. 135 yards on the ground, 26 yards over the air. So that's a total of 161 all-purpose yards. He deserved to win Super Bowl MVP. He was fantastic. He was a big reason why the Seahawks were moving the ball. And what I liked about what the Seahawks did yesterday is that they were patient. They knew what they had on the defensive side of the ball. They knew the mismatch that they had when it came to the Seahawks defense and the Patriots offense. It's a mismatch. The Seahawks defense is clearly more talented than the Patriots offense. I think the Seahawks defense is a more well-coordinated defense than the Patriots offense. And they knew that. And they built their offensive game plan around the fact that they knew they had a clear advantage on that side of the ball. Not asking Sam Darnold to put the ball in harm's way, getting off the field if things didn't look right, and just letting their defense go out there and make a stop. And that's what they did constantly throughout the course of this game. So they're worthy Super Bowl champions. This is a team that I said when I saw, I forget what game it was where I was just like, ooh, this team's going to be a real problem. I think it was after a Thursday night game that they played. I said, guys, we need to pay attention to Seattle. And I think I was really early on Seattle. Like when I saw it, I was like, guys, this team's going to be dangerous. And not just for this year, for years to come. Like this is a team, like, I'm not going to predict that they're going to repeat, but they can repeat. Like, who are the big names that they're losing from this team? They have a bunch of cap space. They have young players on this team. They have young players that are really, really good. They draft well. I don't know. Like, why can't this team be at the top of the NFC again next season? But that we'll talk about that when we get there, because I don't want to take away from the accomplishment that they had this year. This is a team that, you know, throughout the course of the season, they were consistently the most dominant team in the NFL. And you have to give Sam Darnold his credit. You know, we'll get into Sam Darnold after this about whether he's a top 10 quarterback, whether he's not. One thing you have to say is that he is clearly a very good starting quarterback in the NFL, and there's nobody that can take that away from him. The whole Sam Darnold is, I think Skip Bayless called him, all that when Sam Darnold gets into a big spot, he's going to choke. All that stuff to me, like I was like, okay, what evidence do you have to say that Sam Darnold is going to choke in the big spots? What makes you say that? Because when I looked at Sam Darnold, when people say like, oh, he's going to find a way to choke it away, he's going to find a way to, you know, not be able to get it done when it needs to get done. What evidence did they have that was the case? What, a loss to the Los Angeles Rams in the wild card round last year? Seriously? Like, I feel like people are so quick to attach that to quarterbacks. Like, hey, they can't get it done. Like, you can't trust this quarterback. You can't trust that quarterback. But to kind of put a bow on this game, I talked about earlier, I was very upset with how people talked about this game because I don't think they were giving the teams in the game the proper amount of respect. And did the Patriots, did they have an easy path to the Super Bowl? Yes, but they still went out there and won those games. Still went out there on the road and beat a Denver Broncos team on the road in inclement weather. They beat the Texans that we looked at them and we said, like, oh, that's going to be a really tough team to beat. The Chargers, defensively, they absolutely dominated the Chargers. So, to me, both of these teams deserve to be here, okay? Like, the whole narratives of this is going to be the worst Super Bowl ever, whatever, like, that's so disrespectful to the two teams that are in there. And then we're talking about other things other than the game that's being played on the field. We're talking about the halftime show. I'm going to be 100% honest with you to talk about the halftime show for a second. I don't care about the halftime show. It doesn't matter who is performing at the halftime show. When we're talking about if TMZ or these other outlets want to talk about the halftime show because they're not sports outlets, cool. I'm not going to talk about it though. Whatever the NFL decided to do with their halftime show, they decided to do. And I'm going to be 100% honest with you. Me personally, I don't listen to Bad Bunny's music. It's fine. It's all good. I understand why people listen to it. You know, like if I were to listen to the type of music that Bad Bunny produces, I would probably really like it. He probably put on a fantastic show. It's not for me, and that's okay. I understand why the NFL did it. The NFL did it because they're trying to get eyes from different markets. They're trying to expand the game. So as somebody who covers football, somebody who, by the way, I cover the Dallas Cowboys, Bad Bunny, you know, he's going to attract a lot of Mexican football fans. Do you think they're going to like the Minnesota Vikings? No, they're going to like the Dallas Cowboys. So, like, for me, from a business perspective, I look at that and I say, oh, that's great. But at the same time, to me, we made it about something that it didn't need to be about, which was, the halftime show. We're making it about, this is going to be one of the worst Super Bowls ever. Instead of looking at the talent that is on the field, looking at the fact that the Seattle Seahawks made so many right decisions to be here, that to me, I think it's so annoying that that wasn't a topic of conversation. It was so annoying to me that we can't look at the fact that they moved on from Geno Smith to Sam Darnold, a risky move because Geno Smith was a good quarterback for them. And they said, you want to know what? We're good. We're going to trade Geno Smith and we're going to sign Sam Darnold. That was a risky move that worked out for them. They traded Russell Wilson a few years ago. Risky move. And they used those draft picks to get players on this team that were going to help them out. Risky move. It worked out for them. So instead of talking about the halftime show, instead of talking about this is going to be the worst Super Bowl ever, why couldn't we talk about the fact that the Seattle Seahawks built one of the most complete teams that we've seen over the past few years here? Why can't we talk about the fact that they have consistently knocked pick after pick after pick out of the park? Why can't we talk about the fact that they made an absolute home run hire 2 years ago with hiring Mike McDonald? Why isn't that the conversation? Why isn't the game the conversation? Why are other things the conversation? That to me just drove me up a freaking wall. Over the past few years, the Seahawks made decisions like I said, moving on from Sam Darnold for Geno Smith, moving on for drafting Devin Witherspoon, drafting Jackson Smith and Jigba, drafting Nick Emmanwori, drafting Byron Murphy, drafting Gray Zabel, signing Cooper Kupp, trading for Rashid Shaheed. Things that actually matter for football. Why wasn't the conversation celebrating a team like that and celebrating the fact that the New England Patriots last year were one of the worst teams in the NFL? Over the past 2 years, they had the 4th overall pick last year and the 3rd overall. Did I cut out here? I'm sorry. Sorry about that. Ricardo, make sure to edit that out, by the way. The 3rd overall pick in 2023. They had the 4th over. No, is that right? No. 2024, they had the 3rd overall pick. 2025, they had the 4th overall pick, and they're in the Super Bowl. They overachieved by every standard. So to me, that should have been the conversation, not whatever anybody else was talking about. We got to move on to the next topic because I'm getting like red in the face about this. Okay, so I want to move on to the topic of conversation about Sam Darnold because I know this is going to be a topic of conversation for people. Is Sam Darnold a top 10 quarterback after winning the Super Bowl? Some people are going to ask, is he a top 5 quarterback after winning the Super Bowl? And I personally do not believe that that's the case. I don't believe that Sam Darnold is a top 10 quarterback even after winning the Super Bowl, because I can name 10 quarterbacks that I'm sorry, I just don't think he's better than. He's not better than Josh Allen. He's not better than Patrick Mahomes. He's not better than Lamar Jackson. He's not better than Justin Herbert. He's not better than Joe Burrow. He's not better than Dak Prescott. He's not better than Matthew Stafford. He's not better than Drake May. Right there, that's 8 names off the top of my head that I came up with that I don't think that he's a better quarterback than those guys. And I could probably, if I were to make a list right here, right now, like I don't think he's better than Jordan Love. I mean, maybe you would put him at the 10th spot, but I really think if I went through this whole thing, I could find a better quarterback than him. I would even, to be 100% honest with you, I would even take Brock Purdy over Sam Darnold. And the reason why I would take Brock Purdy over Sam Darnold is because I've seen Brock Purdy elevate the team that he plays for. I have not seen that from Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold plays very well with talented rosters. He is a complement to the roster. He is not a guy that's going to elevate the team that he's on. That's just not his level of play. And to go back to the top 10 quarterback talk, like I get it. He did not play well this year. I would take Jaden Daniels over him as well, because I think that he's been able to elevate the talent around him. And when I look at Sam Darnold, are you a guy that elevates the talent around you, or are you a guy that needs talent around you to win games? Sam Darnold had a big time problem with consistency this year. And that to me, like we talked about it with Jalen Hurts last year. Jalen Hurts was a guy that did not play well last year. Let's just be 100% honest when we talk about this. He did not play well last year, but he played well in the biggest spots. He played well in the NFC Championship game. He played well in the Super Bowl. But there were people that just took those two games and said, we're going to completely forget about the rest of the season where he was flat out mediocre. He was mediocre at best, with the talent that he had around him. People ignored the 17 games that he played before the Super Bowl and just looked at the Super Bowl and the NFC Championship game and said, yep, he's an elite quarterback. He's a top 5 quarterback, future Hall of Fame quarterback. But then when you watch the guy play, you say to yourself, is he even good at the sport? Like you say those things to yourself because you look at the fact that he was taking sacks, like a lot of unnecessary sacks, holding on to the ball for too long, not pushing the ball down the field the way that he needs to, not doing the things that you want the quarterback to do when it comes to the passing game. You looked at those things and you asked yourself, how good is this guy actually? But then he played really well in the NFC Championship game in the Super Bowl. And then people started to say, oh, this guy is an elite top 10 or top 5 quarterback. Was never the case. And we saw when you didn't have a super team around him this year that he did not look good. And they were first round exits because they asked him to elevate the team and he couldn't do that. So that's where I come from. Same thing with Sam Darnold. Do I think Sam Darnold, if he had a mediocre roster, could make them a good roster? No. I think if Sam Darnold is on a mediocre team, they are a mediocre team. The quarterback is not raising the level of play. People can say what they want about Dak Prescott. The fact that the Cowboys this year were, I think, bottom 5 in NFL history when it came to DVOA, and they still found a way to win 7 games. And to be honest with you, if they took that last game seriously against the New York Giants, they probably would have won that game, and they would have been an 8-win team with a defense that ranked bottom 5 in DVOA. He elevates his team. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, these guys elevate their team. And I get it, like 3 of the 4 guys that I talked about, Justin Herbert, by the way, like I'm buying every bit of stock on Justin Herbert this offseason because people are going to be selling so low on him. And I'm just going to be like, are you guys crazy? The Chargers offense is so bad. And he made them look pretty decent. And they won a lot of games because of Justin Herbert, because of the way he was able to make something out of nothing. Do I think Sam Darnold's that? No. I look at Sam Darnold the same way as I look at Jared Goff. I actually think I think they're like around the same rankings, to be honest with you. Like if I were to rank Sam Darnold amongst quarterbacks and say, okay, who does he compare best to? I would say Jared Goff. I think that Jared Goff is a more refined passer than Sam Darnold, so I give him the edge there. But I think that Sam Darnold does a little more when the play breaks down. Like Jared Goff, when he's getting pressured, is just not that good. Like he's kind of a statue back there. I don't think Sam Darnold is like that, but they're around the same level of quarterback play, right? Guys that you look at as saying, yeah, they're probably like around that 10 range, but that's like the highest you would put them, somewhere around 10 to 13, because of the fact that they are as good as their surrounding pieces. Again, they're not guys that elevate their team. They're guys that if you give them really good situations, they're going to have really good results. If you give them mediocre situations, they're going to have mediocre results. And consistency to me is what I think keeps Sam Darnold out of the top 10 for me. And I, like, beginning of the season, I was a huge Sam Darnold fan, but some of the inconsistencies that I saw in his play make me kind of say, I don't know if I can necessarily call him a top 10 quarterback, because I just think that there's quarterbacks that consistently play at a higher level than Sam Darnold. If you ask me, that's just the way I think about it. So the conversation is going to be, this offseason, it's going to be, is Sam Darnold elite? Is he not? He's not an elite quarterback. Like, he's not. I think there's about, to me, I'm going to say there's about like 5 elite quarterbacks. Like, it's so difficult because I used to say there can only be like a certain amount of elite quarterbacks, but I think now you're looking at like, I think the elite quarterbacks in the NFL, you got Allen, Mahomes, Jackson, Burrow, Stafford, Dak, and Herbert. Like I'm cool with saying those 7 are elite quarterbacks. And again, I know people are going to bring up the playoffs. Like, come on, you put Sam Darnold on that Chargers team, they're not making the playoffs. Like this, and this is what we do with certain quarterbacks, right? We do this with certain quarterbacks, and we're doing this with Drake May right now. We're doing this with Drake May. These quarterbacks get their team to a level that their team had no business getting to. We've seen quarterbacks like Herbert, like Dak, drag teams to the playoffs. And then, yeah, they fall short in the playoffs, and people are like, oh, they choke in the playoffs. No, their team just wasn't that good. And they were playing better teams. They were playing teams that were more complete, that had better game plans, that had better coaching staffs. That's what happened in those situations. So to me, am I taking Sam Darnold and am I putting him with those 7 quarterbacks that I just listed? Absolutely not. Those guys separate themselves from him head over shoulders. If you want to say he's in that next tier, I don't think he's better than Drake May. I just don't. Like, if you're starting a team, even if you're starting a team for one season to win a Super Bowl, you're not taking Sam Darnold over Drake May. Drake May elevates his team way more than a guy like Sam Darnold does. Like, to me, once you get into that 8 range, like I would say 9 to like 12 range, that's when you could talk. If you want to say he's the 9th best quarterback in the NFL, I would say, cool. I'll concede there. I think that's a very fair thing to say. If you want to say that, like, hey, he's in that top 8, like he's, no, I completely disagree. And I respect Sam Darnold to death. I really do. The fact that he was able to come back from, Carolina, the Jets, like 2 of the worst run organizations in football. And to give Sam Darnold his flowers here, Sam Darnold had a very rough start to his career. Played for the New York Jets. Obviously, they weren't a very good franchise, and he wasn't very good for them. And then you want to know what he said? I'm going to go get coached by some of the best minds in football, some of the best offensive minds in football. So what does he do? He goes to San Francisco. He gets coached by Kyle Shanahan. He goes to Minnesota, gets coached by Kevin O'Connell. Then he goes to Seattle, and he's getting coached by Clint Kubiak, who's about to be the Vegas Raiders head coach because he did such a good job with Sam Darnold. He was very particular with where he went to go play. He was very smart from that perspective. I'm going to teams with good infrastructure. I'm going to teams with good coaching staffs. I'm going to well-run organizations. And that's what he did, and now he's a Super Bowl champion. So I give him a lot of credit for that. I really do. Shout out to Sam Darnold. You did good for yourself there. Okay, let's move on to the last topic of the show, and that is it fair to be overly critical of Drake May in this Super Bowl performance? I think anybody being overly critical of Drake May for his Super Bowl performance, I think is being completely unfair. Can we just be 100% honest about this? Can we stop lying to ourselves? The New England Patriots, especially offensively, were not that good. They didn't have a bunch of talent on the offensive side of the ball. Drake May made that unit better than what it was supposed to be. And people can talk about his playoff run. Okay, the defenses that he played in the playoffs, Chargers, Texans, Broncos, Seahawks. Name the top 5 defenses in the league. They're 4 of the top 5. And it's not like he has a bunch of offensive pieces. It's not like he has a mastermind offensive coordinator that's really dialing it up for him to make it easier for him. He plays in a pro-style offense as a second-year quarterback. They asked Drake May to do a lot, and he did a lot. If you were to tell a New England Patriots fan that when Drake May got drafted, 2 years later, you'd be playing in the Super Bowl, he'd be an MVP candidate. If you told Patriots fans at the beginning of this season that they would be playing in the Super Bowl, I think they would be very happy with that result. Don't look at it from the micro view. Look at it from the macro view. And if you want to say, well, the schedule wasn't that, okay, there are plenty of quarterbacks that have easy schedules that don't play as well as Drake May. And again, let's be honest with ourselves. The offensive talent on the New England Patriots is not that good. They overachieved. And to be as critical as people were about Drake May, they did not, they deserve to be in that game because they won the games leading up to it. But you can deserve to be in a game and clearly be overmatched. The Kansas City Chiefs last year were clearly overmatched when they played the Eagles. And this is Patrick Mahomes, who was like an 8-year veteran at the time. He didn't look that much better than Drake May did yesterday. And Drake May is a second-year player. It's because the team, football is the ultimate team sport. The team was overmatched. That's the reason why Drake May did not look that good. You have to be able to hold up in protection. They did not hold up in the protection. You have to be able to run the ball effectively. They couldn't run the ball effectively. The receivers had to get open. They weren't able to get open. Your offensive coordinator needs to dial it up. They were not dialing up. And yes, Drake May was not good, and he was part of the reason why they lost. And he missed some throws yesterday. But to completely ignore everything this guy has done for the New England Patriots and to completely ignore the progress that this organization made as a franchise, I think is so disingenuous. I think it's so unfair to Drake May. And not only that, can we... this is the crap that drives me crazy. Can we stop with this whole thing where young quarterback loses in the playoffs. They don't play well. Oh, they're not a good playoff quarterback. They can't get it done. This is who he is. No, who Drake May is a second-year quarterback that was a big reason why the Patriots took such a leap forward with, let's just be honest, mediocre personnel on the offensive side of the ball. He elevated his offense. He elevated that team. And this season, I get it. It's painful for Patriots fans at the moment, but you're looking at it from the micro view. And you're not wrong to look at it from the micro view. Because the micro view is, damn, lost the Super Bowl. Not good. It's fair to look at it from the micro view. But look at it from the macro view. Third pick in 2023, or 2024. Third pick in 2024. Fourth pick in 2025. Super Bowl. You made a massive improvement. You went from drafting in the top 5 to making the Super Bowl. You obviously did a lot of things very right. And the two things that they got absolutely right, the coach, obviously Mike Vrabel, Coach of the Year, deserving of that award. And Drake May took a massive leap as a quarterback. Those were the two reasons why they were in the Super Bowl. And those two pieces, Drake May and Mike Vrabel, deserve all the credit in the world. So I just, you want to, again, there's going to be a lot of stock selling of quarterbacks this offseason. People are going to be selling the Herbert stock. I'll buy it up. People are going to be selling the Drake May stock. I'll buy it up. Please sell it. I want all that stock that you can get me because it's been particularly talking about Drake May. Guy is an absolute stud. And they'll be back. Maybe not next year. Maybe not. But he'll be back on the stage. He is, one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL now and a young superstar in this game. And I get it. The game yesterday wasn't very good and he did not play well at all. But they'll be back. And there's no doubt in my mind about that. But that's going to be it for the CEO Sports Show for today. Please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe. I would greatly appreciate that. Until next time, I will see you guys later. Peace.